Stephanie can help you out with. She's going to be talking to you today about some resources on campus and other things related to that. So thanks again for being here. Okay, more Stephanie.
Thanks. Okay, so you're going to have to bear with me a little bit. I'm super tired, and I'm guessing that you all are too, because you're students, and being a student is really exhausting. It kind of sucks sometimes. But I'm also battling some kind of cold and sickness. So if you cannot hear me, like in the back, can you all hear me? Yes? Good. If at any point my voice goes out and you can't hear me anymore, just say, hey Stephanie, you need to speak louder, and I promise I'll do my best. How many of you are here because you have to be for class or because it's extra credit? Okay, so I know that my acting skills in that Harding Hack video weren't that great. Thanks for letting me know. But the Harding Hack thing, when I was a student, I came here 10 years ago. I'm trying not to cough into the microphone. I came here 10 years ago as a student, and these things were called Learning Enhancement Seminars, and they were very formal, and no offense to my predecessor, but they were a little boring. And so I know that if you guys had the choice, you wouldn't be sitting in this room right now. You would be out somewhere doing something far more fun, probably not even your homework, and you wouldn't be sitting here. But I am glad you're here, because the reason that you're here today, other than your extra credit, is I hope that you at least hear something that you didn't know before, and you're like, hey, that's a resource that I can take advantage of. Because there are a lot of great things to be, like at Harding, it's great to be at Harding and all that kind of stuff, that's absolutely true. But it's also expensive to be here. Not sure if you've noticed that or not, or even if you're the one putting that bill. But there are a lot of things that are free resources to you, and I want you all to take advantage of them. Some of them are newer resources, and some of them have been here forever at Harding. But we're going to go ahead and get started, because there are things I simply want you to be aware of. By show of hands, how many of you are freshmen? Okay, do I have anyone who's a junior or a senior? A few of you. Awesome. I'm hoping I don't teach you all anything, because you already know all of this stuff, truthfully. And I hope you're just here for the extra credit. But do pay attention and do come along for the ride. How many of you, by show of hands, know that there is free counseling for all students? You're aware of that? Okay, good. Does anyone know where that takes place? Yes? Third story of the Bible building, which ironically we happen to be in. Good job. How many of you realize and know that there's free tutoring for a ton of classes at Harding? Okay. How many of you did not know that? Anyone? A few of you? Okay. Where would you go to get tutoring? You. In the Student Center. Where in the Student Center? Second floor. In the Center for Student Success. We're going to talk more about these things, by the way. This is just a little segue. How many of you know that for some of Harding's historically difficult classes, there are study sessions that are led by upperclassmen called SI sessions? Okay, are any of you guys in classes with SI this semester? Okay, I would definitely go to those. How many of you know that for almost any book, almost truly any book that I could ever think that I wanted access to, whether it be fiction or nonfiction, even if it's not in Harding's library, you could still get it very, very cheaply? Do you guys know that that exists here? Raise your hand if you did. Okay, very few of you, so I'm teaching you something. How many of you all have ever locked your keys in your car? I'm going to raise 2 hands because I've done it more than twice. How many of you have ever had your battery die? How many of you wish your mom or dad were here so they could take care of that for you? Yeah, me too, still, because I don't know how to do that. But public safety will do that to you for free, and we're going to talk about that as well. Did you know, how many of you guys one day want to have a job? I hope all of you raise your hand, by the way, or else we're going to have to live a little chat. Okay, how many of you feel like you are already 100% proficient when it comes to interviewing and writing a resume? Ooh, bold in the back row. Perfect. Well, you're an upperclassman, so I'm going to give you some grace there. If you one day want to have a job, I guarantee you're going to have to put together a resume, or for some jobs what they would call a CV. And they're actually pretty technical documents, and you kind of have to know what you're doing when you put them together. And we have a whole office dedicated to that, which is awesome. Okay? How many of you have a laptop or a computer in your dorm room? How many of you would consider yourself extraordinarily tech savvy? Got a few of you. I need you to write down your name and number so I can tell you later. But I'm not. Like, I even struggle with connecting my phone to iTunes. I don't speak that language. But if you have technological difficulties, especially with Pipeline or your own laptops and computers in your dorms, we have a whole service that is free to you to use. So I'm going to go through these. When I first started, I asked how many of you were freshmen, and the far majority of you raised your hands. Okay? There is a service that I need you all to be aware of, and that's your peer guide program. Is there anyone here who's a freshman who doesn't know what a peer guide is? I'm sincerely hoping I don't see a hand. That's good, because every single one of you have them, because they're in your freshman Bible class. Your peer guides, this program is truly one of the newer programs. It didn't exist when I was a freshman at Harding. And I'm going to tell you all a little bit of a personal story. You should know I'm a licensed therapist, so sometimes I'm okay with being vulnerable. When I came here as a freshman in 2006, 18 years old, I had never heard of the Church of Christ. Truly, I hadn't ever heard of the Church of Christ, and I ended up at like the Mecca of the Church of Christ. And I would have said that I was a Christian because I believed in God, but like, if you asked me to name the 4 gospel books, I couldn't have done it. And I had Alan Dials, Dr. Dials, who was awesome, by the way, for 8 o'clock Bible my freshman year. And the first day of class, he asked for a volunteer to pray, and I raised my hand. I'm not sure if you've noticed, I'm a girl, and that went over real well. He was really great about it. Truly, he was so great about it. But I just didn't know much about Harding, or the culture, or the Church of Christ, and not really in Bible class that year, because I just felt like everyone was beyond where I was, because they knew things. I never read the Bible before. I just didn't know how to do anything. I was definitely not from the South, and so the whole like living in Arkansas thing, I didn't know dry counties were a thing. I thought those were only in movies. My last name is O'Brien, if that tells you anything about my family and my heritage. It's Irish, and that stereotype is true in my family. I just was not the typical Harding person. And to this day, honestly, it's like, what am I doing here? But it's good, I love it. But as a freshman, I so was lost in the wilderness. I didn't know anything. And I so absolutely wish I would have had a peer guide to say, hey Stephanie, come have coffee with me, let's chat. Because I doubted I was like a smart person, academically fine, but I hated it here. I didn't know who I was spiritually at all, because everyone believed all these things that like I had never heard, and I just was struggling. And not with grades, like my grades were fine, but in every other aspect, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, a wreck. And so, this one for sure, if you struggle in any way with adjusting to Harding if you're a freshman, or if you just lack confidence, or if you weren't raised Church of Christ and you're just struggling. I was raised sort of Methodist, sort of not. Just any area of your life, the peer guides are hand-selected and placed in your class, and their whole job is to bless you and to help you with that transition. Their job is not to make you Church of Christ. I'd kill them. Their job is simply to encourage you and to help you in your transition to Harding. So as freshmen, the first resource that I need to make sure that you're aware of are these peer guides. And they come out of our office. The first year experience, Kevin Carroll, the dean of the center, and he's in charge of the peer guides, and I help train them in the summer before you all even get here. For some of you who are upperclassmen, you may be a peer guide yourself, or you may have friends who are. But this is a big one. And so don't be so timid to not ask them. I had a girl come into my office last year, and she was like, oh, no, like exactly like that. And I asked her if she had been communicating with her peer guide, and she said no, she was too scared because the girl was too pretty and the guy was too attractive. Don't let that stop you from getting help if you need it. Like truly, it killed me. It made me laugh out loud, let's be real. But it also killed me because the sweet, precious girl wasn't getting the help and the encouragement that she needed because she was too timid. And none of you have spirits of timidity, so that's gonna be a no. Go ahead and take advantage of that. How many of you are 100% certain you know what you want to do with your major and your career and your life? Okay, there's a few of you who are raising your hands. I also want to talk to y'all because I'm 28 with 3 degrees and I don't even know. But that's okay, it's all good. Academic advising is something that we have at Harding as well. John Mark Warnick, he is the new person in charge of academic advising, and he's truly awesome. So if you are currently undeclared and you don't know what major you need to have and you sort of are just wafting through life here at Harding because it was the next step, and your parents were like, hey, go to college, and you're like, sounds neat. And then you came here and now you're like, what's next? That is a lot of y'all. And some of you may not even recognize you're in that place yet, but you are, and that's okay. I changed my major November my senior year. It's fine, I'm alive. But you need to know that this exists. And you need to come and get advice from us if you don't know what your major is. Or if you're just truly not sure. Come and talk to us. Colton, who was up here a second ago and he introduced me, he will often help you. A lot of my graduate assistants are in the, all of them are in the counseling program, and they're interns, and they are really great with people. They're highly trained. They have to endure days of training with me, poor people. But they're good at their job, and they're good at what they do, and so is John Mark. So if you really don't know what to do with your life, make sure you know about academic advising. Academic resources. This is one I'm personally passionate about because I'm the director of it. And I have been the director of it for a little bit. I've been the director of SI actually since I was 22, since right after I graduated from undergrad. And then every year they just put more under it, so now I'm just director of all. And one part of academic resources is academic coaching and counseling. A lot of you guys came to Harding from high school, or from being homeschooled, and you never had to study a day in your life. And school came really easily, and you just weren't really worried about it, and you were good students. And some of you don't know it yet, but college can be a lot harder. And your teachers can expect a whole lot more from you, even if you took all the AP classes and the dual enrollment classes. How many of you guys have Chem 121? Okay, I'm praying for y'all. That is rough. And I'm sure you're starting to pick up on its roughness, especially in a few weeks when you have your first test. I don't care if you have Dr. White or Dr. Cole or Dr. Schramm, Dr. Province. Like, it's hard. It is hard. So good job being here. Go to the SI sessions. But college is hard. And if you don't know how you learn, if you don't know how to take notes, if you don't know how to manage your time or your stress level, if you don't know how to take tests at all, you're going to struggle here. And Harding is meant to challenge you and edify you and meant to grow you and be this awesome experience, but it's not supposed to make you miserable. And although, I am the director of academic resources. Okay, I care about how you do academically, obviously. But if you are spending 100% of your time doing school, and you're never making time to grow spiritually or socially and making friends and being active because you're so focused on school, I hate that. I don't want that for you at all because that's not what makes it great to be at Harding. You're here to get a college degree, yes, but you're also here to have a life. Like, I believe in that wholeheartedly. I love fun. Come into my office and you'll know that. But if you don't know how to study effectively and efficiently, then you're going to spend far more time getting frustrated on school than you even need to. And here's a little pro tip. Even when you are out of Harding, you will always have to learn new things and always have to grow and always be expected to study things and remember things, even if you don't have to take an actual test over them. So the more you can go about learning how to learn, and you can heighten your self-awareness and master how you learn things and how you retain information to where you truly know it, the better off you're going to be, not just at Harding, but for the rest of your life. I have to learn so many new things all the time in my new job, and like different jobs. I'm also on retainer with the hospital to counsel their doctors, which is also hilarious to me, but I'm learning a lot in that. And I have to make sure I learn a lot because I need to do well at my job. But if I had to spend 10,000 times more energy trying to learn it than I can, then that's not going to be very efficient and helpful for me, and I'm going to get burned out. Adulting is hard. Some of you don't ever want to grow up. You have Peter Pan syndrome. Totally get it. Some of you wish you were grown-ups now and you're already out of college and in your career. I get that too. But you need to learn how to do your time. So in the Center for Student Success, which is on the second floor of the Student Center, I can help you. I'm the chief academic counselor, but also I have 5 graduate students who can help you with that as well. And so I encourage you, if you struggle, even if it's just with time management, you don't have managing time. There's a heart attack for that next week, by the way. Or you struggle with stress management, or you don't know how to study. Come check us out. Also with academic resources, there is tutoring for almost every single freshman and sophomore level class and a bunch of upper level classes. And it's free to you. I just spent the last weekend, all Friday night and all day Saturday, training all of my tutors, all 30 of them. And they're great, they're exceptional, honestly. And so if you know you're going to class, you're doing your homework, you're talking to the professor, you're reading the textbook, and you still need help, you don't have to struggle with that by yourself. So come up to the center, get an application. It's completely free to you. You'll fill out an application for yourself, and your professor will fill out an application saying, yeah, they're coming to class, they're doing everything they can, they still need some help. Take advantage of that. Truly, don't be timid. I have students, it's not just for students who are getting B's and F's, it's not remedial, it's just, hey, I need some help. So if you have a scholarship and you have to keep a 3.5, that's kind of hard. 3.5 is a really great GPA. It's really hard to keep sometimes, especially as a freshman and there's so many new things. You know, like trying to join a club and trying to find friends and trying to do all this stuff. It can be overwhelming. I've been there not that long ago when you all were 8 years old. Guilty. But you have to take advantage of that. There's no reason not to. So don't be so scared and don't be embarrassed. I have a lot of really bright students who come just to make sure, they come every once in a while for tutoring just to make sure they're staying on top of things and they're securing their GPA. Don't be afraid of that. SI, if you are in Chem 121 or 122, or if you have Dr. Dockery or Dr. Harris for Western Civ, those are the classes that have an SI leader in it. And those are like my children. I love them and I spend so much time with my SI leaders. And I just am borderline obsessed. It's fine, it's normal, it's not. And you really should go to those. Consistently, for those who take advantage of SI throughout the semester, they have 1 to 2 letter grades higher than those who never come at all. And it's fun and it's social and it's where you make your friends. And it's also just where you can study and like be on task for once in your life. It's good. So take advantage of that if you have SI. And if you don't have SI, if you ever have a class that's more of a general studies kind of class where a lot of people have to take it, and you're like, you know what, we could really benefit from having group study sessions in this class, send me an email and come talk to me about it, because that is how oftentimes I start new classes. Okay, you don't have to struggle with them. Disability services. In every single one of your syllabi on this campus, I guarantee you, if I'm wrong, I'll take you to lunch. Guarantee you that there was a paragraph about disability services. So you should have all heard this, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. But if you have a documented disability, documented by a professional like a doctor or a psychologist, if it's documented, then you have to use them. It simply means that you can. If you wonder and you're curious, but you've never been documented, if you're wondering if you have severe anxiety or severe depression or ADD or ADHD and you've never gone to the doctor for it, it's okay to go to the doctor now and say, you know what, I've struggled with this in high school, but I worked really hard, but I think in college I'm not going to be able to make it. If you think you have something like that, don't, go to the doctor if you think you need to, but know that you have to be the one to self-report these things to the disability services. They're also in the student center. If you were to go up the stairwell, that's like right when you come in from chapel into the stew, go up that stairwell that's on your left across from Student Life, and go there and have a conversation about it. If you just need a little bit more time on tests, or you need someone to even read your test to you if you have some kind of visual disability, anything like that. Okay, extensions, just know that By law, Harding has to have that. And the person who's the director of it, her name is Teresa. Everyone calls her Mother Teresa, and for good reason. So just take advantage of that if it's something you need. Even if you go and document with us and you never use the accommodations, that's okay. But to let us know that you have it is going to be beneficial to you in case you ever actually need it. The career services. Earlier, all of you, I believe, raised your hands that you one day wanted a job, which does my heart happy because it's kind of why you're here, I assume. Stephen is actually the intern in Career Center, and the Career Center can help you find a job on campus. So for those of you who need a little money, that's nice. But even more importantly, if you are one of those people earlier that I said, you may not know what you want to do with your life, they can actually give you like a personality assessment, and it tests you, like what fits your disposition, what fits your personality, what would be good for you. You know what I'm going to do because I'm awful? Pass out those green sheets. So they're going to pass out green sheets, by the way, right now, because I forgot to earlier. And it lists all of these places and the contact information and the phone numbers, so you can have them. So if you're like taking notes, kudos to you. Bravo. But you don't have to because I already typed it all up on a very boring document. But you can keep taking notes if you want. That's happy. Just testing you all. Still pay attention. I'm going to pass this out again. But the Career Center, if you need help with a resume, or if you need help finding an internship, or if you don't even know what to wear to an interview, or if you don't know what kind of job you want or what kind of job fits your personality, any of that kind of stuff, go to the Career Center. They can help you out. It's really, really, really helpful. And you need to know this exists. Some of you, I know as freshmen, you really don't care because you're not thinking about a career and you're not thinking about internships. So stow this little bit of information away so that when you are upperclassmen and your major requires you to have an internship, or it's your senior year and your parents are like, hey, you can't move back home, you need to find a job, you can get some help. Okay, what's really one of the perks of being at Harding, especially going through the Career Center, is that people come from all 50 states and all over the world to be students here. And that's cool. I love diversity, I love culture. I'm from Columbia, Missouri, which is a really awesome, diverse town. And when you come to Harding, you can network. And so the people who work in the Career Center can say, oh, you want to move to the Nashville area, or oh, you want to move to San Diego, or oh, you want to move to this country? We have graduates there. Let me hook you up with them. And they can network with you. Okay, so you're never really alone, and you actually have thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people you can sort of know. So take advantage of the Career Center. Okay? What? Okay, it's killing me. Another office that we have is Multicultural Student Services. If you're a minority, if you're not white, I would get to know the director of Multicultural Student Services in a heartbeat. Her name is Tiffany Byers. And she is a near and dear friend of mine, I cannot speak. She's awesome. And she will just help sort of bridge the gap sometimes, because if you were to go in chapel and stand at the front, the majority of people look like me, or the guy version. And that can be overwhelming. So if you need help, if you are a minority, and you just want to talk to someone about what that's like even being here, I can't say I know what it feels like because I'm not, but I know it's different, especially in the South. So go talk to Tiffany. There are a lot of awesome organizations and clubs for minority students, and they do really awesome, incredible things. And they're very active, and it's for everyone. This is for everyone. And it's just really good. She's awesome. So even, just get to know Tiffany Byers. You won't regret it. She's the wisest person I know. The library. Okay. I had a senior, AKA they have been here for over 3 years. They're in their 4th year at Harding, in my office last spring. And he was talking about struggling in something and he wasn't sure how he could write this paper, blah, blah, blah. Really sweet kid. I mean, all of y'all are sweet kids, but this kid was a charmer, okay? Totally charming country boy. It was hilarious. He was hilarious. But I was like, why don't you go to the library? His question to me was, where's the library? And if I was a cat, I would have lost a life right then, because it killed me. Like I was totally slayed in that moment. And he was a senior, and he didn't know where the library was. If you don't know where the library is, we're gonna take a little walksy-poo over there after this, because I can't handle that. I was history and political science in undergrad, and I lived in the library. Like, I feel like I paid rent to the bathroom, and it was like awful. And so you have to know the library, okay? That's a good resource for you. And I realize we live in the day and age of technology, and you can get all these resources online, but Harding actually has purchased online resources that are far better than Google, believe it or not. And sometimes you need to go to the library to help access them. There's also interlibrary loan. An interlibrary loan is incredible. So like Harding's library, in terms of tangible resources that you can like hold and smell old books, I'm such a nerd and I'm like letting you all know that, that's okay. But in like the things you can hold, it's kind of weak. It's not just the huge, expansive Beauty and the Beast library that I wish we had, but we have interlibrary loan. So like we have access to every book at the University of Arkansas in Fayetteville, and they have a really great library. We have access to books from libraries all over the place, and you just have to pay $1. $1. That's really cheap. If you need $1, not all of you, because that's a lot of you, but a few of you needed $1. I'll give you $1 so you can get your interlibrary loan. It also includes like DVDs, and Hastings is gone. I'm not sure if you even know what that is, but you're going to want that sometimes. You just go and you order it, it's here within a week, and it's super simple. Also the librarians in there, they're really friendly people. You sort of imagine librarians being like really sweet and kind and helpful. Like that's the truth, so that's a good thing here. Ask them questions. If you are writing a research paper and you're just really not sure you can find resources for it, ask them to help you. If you don't know how to do it in MLA format or APA format, and you just need them to help you out, don't be afraid to ask. There's a reason that the librarians work also at night and on the weekends. It's because they're there to be available to you. So all these resources, like we all get paid to be helpful to you. Our whole job, every single person on campus, our job definition is to bless the students. And we do it differently. I do it by being the director of all the academic coaching and the Harding Hacks and SI and tutoring and being a licensed therapist. And the librarians do it by helping you all out. And the people on CAF do it by feeding you food. And everyone. Okay? That's our job, is to bless you. So take advantage. Go to the library. The writing lab is in the back of the library. How many of you guys do not like writing papers? Cool. Welcome to college, where you're going to have to write papers. Some of you may have majors where you really don't write, it's more project driven. I, in one semester, wrote over 50 pages worth of papers on more than one occasion, because I had a very paper heavy major. But if you are just not a great writer, or you really struggle with grammar the same way I'm struggling speaking, if you struggle with grammar, or just mixing up your sentences, or you're just not sure how to write an 8 to 12 page paper, or a 20 page paper, which some of you will have to do, because it just seems so big and so overwhelming, make an appointment with a writing lab. Because again, their whole purpose is to help you out. And so many students do not know that this exists. And so they'll ask a friend who also doesn't know what they're doing to edit their paper. Don't do that. Don't let the blind lead the blind there. Just get some help from people who know what they're doing. And they'll help you a lot, I promise. DormNet. Again, this is one that I loved. I call DormNet every semester as a student because I couldn't figure something out. Even if you can't get your wireless to work on your computer, that can be maddening. Especially when you have a quiz due at midnight on campus, and it's stressful and your teacher might not be as graceful as you would like. Call them. Truly call them. And if your computer is acting crazy and you just cannot figure out what's wrong, that's a really expensive little piece of equipment you got there, and you don't just want to toss it out. That would be my first inclination. If it's broken, I tend to walk away and go, oh, it was bad. But call DormNet, okay? There are a lot of students there who are highly trained, and then there are like professional people there who know what they're doing. So don't try to fix it on your own. So don't always feel like you have to call your parents. There are people here on site who can actually help you out. The Counseling Center. This one's a big deal, okay? So I'll disclose a little something something. As I'm a licensed therapist, okay? I have 2 degrees in counseling. I have taken the National Counselor exam. I've gone and done an oral exam in front of the Board of Examiners. Licensed. And doctors at the hospital pay me $100 an hour to counsel them. LOL. Go to school. So that just makes me laugh. Still to this day. But they do, because counseling is high value. Because people need it. Because your mental and emotional and overall psychological well-being is imperative. Because if you're not well, it doesn't matter how smart you are, you're going to be on the struggle bus in school. And you're going to be in the struggle bus spiritually and socially. It's just going to be a mess. And so at Harding, the fact that you can go to counseling for free is a really huge money-saving deal. Because those people could be getting paid $100 an hour somewhere else. But they're not. They're here to serve you for free. And that's awesome. So if you know that you're struggling, please take advantage of that. Just so you know, I went to counseling for 16 weeks in the Counseling Center and got counseled by Dr. Sherry Pollard. And I myself am a counselor. Counselors need counselors. And on October 3rd, when I speak in chapel to the girls, I'll talk to you all about that. But if this is something you know, like, I'm struggling with something specific, the Rock House Ministry, it goes through College Church. It also has a huge counseling ministry. So if you know you don't want to walk to the 3rd floor of this building because you're too fearful, take advantage of the Rock House. Go to the Rock House. And some of those issues that you may be struggling with, they address there. Or they also have other counselors that they can connect with if you don't want to talk to a Harding counselor about it. For whatever reason, and that sometimes happens. I myself lead a grief group, which I announced the same day I announced this Harding Hack, for girls who have lost someone. At the end of this month, I'm starting a group for girls who've been sexually assaulted or raped. So that's a big one. There's a group for students who have divorced parents. There's a group for students with eating disorders, and there's just a lot. So when it comes to your mental health, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a therapist and because my mom and stepdad are both therapists, explains why I'm weird, but I'm just saying this because it's truly important. And so if you're here and you're just feeling overwhelmed, go to the Counseling Center. If you are overwhelmed with school, and with school you feel like you're floundering and you just don't know what to do, come to the Center for Student Success and talk to me or one of my interns, because all of them are in the counseling program. And there's also like a counseling basis there too, as it pertains to academics and stress when it pertains to school. So please, please, please don't feel like, oh, I'm just going to pray it away. I believe wholeheartedly in the power of prayer. But if there's a resource there to help you navigate this season, take advantage of it. It's truly helpful. Woo. This one, I think, is public safety. Yeah. So public safety. They are really great, the people at public safety. I, last year, was pumping gas in my car. And I may or may not have left my car running, which one is a no-no when you're pumping gas. Like, I've never done that in my life, but it was like a hot mess of a day, and I was having a hot mess of the moment. And so I left my car running, and I lock my car every time I get out of my car. It's like muscle memory. And gas pumping, car running, doors locked, have an 8 o'clock meeting, it's like 7:50 in the morning. Who are you gonna call? Yeah, you are, but not here. You're gonna call public safety instead. And so their number is just 279-5000. And if that isn't already in your phone, it probably should be. But they came and they were so sweet and they laughed at me a lot. And anytime I still see those 2 officers, they still laugh at me. So I had to like get rid of some pride. But I got into my car, which is actually a lot more helpful. Or if your battery dies, or if you are playing a sport during club sports or intramural sports, and you like break your jaw, which happened last year, not to me, to someone else. And it wasn't funny, so disregard my laugh. It wasn't funny. I just am sick and twisted. But you call public safety because they can go there and help you out. If you are ever walking around and you feel really uncomfortable for guys or girls, or you see something that you know is just not okay, call public safety for real and for true. They're just really, they can help you out with very simple things like lost keys and lost IDs and all that kind of stuff, but also for the more serious stuff. They're very, very, very helpful. They also put on a lot of classes for students, so if you need like CPR training, or if you want to take a self-defense class, any of that kind of stuff, you can do that through public safety, and they're a great resource for you. Health services, the nurse. So when I was a sophomore, it was February of my sophomore year, and I was go, 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 and I was so busy, and I got so sick, and I refused to go to the nurse for it because y'all don't know me, but I'm like so stubborn. It's like not okay. I'm just real stubborn. It's fine. I'll get over it one day when I die, and Jesus talks to me about it. But in the meantime, I'm probably going to remain real stubborn. It's just sort of who I am. And I didn't want to stop being, I was an SI leader in undergrad, and I didn't want to have to cancel my sessions, and I wanted to go to all my classes and hang out with all my friends. And I was upstairs at the Gaines, the history building, not the GAC, let's be real. And I 100% just passed out. She gone, but she was me. And it was just not a good situation. And I ended up, the nurse had to like drive me to the hospital, and they quarantined me because I was so sick and I had the flu, and it was so depressing. It was depressing. And it really was, like, I'm having a moment remembering that. Because once again, my pride was taken away from me. But I like passed out in class. I actually did that twice in undergrad. If that communicates to you my level of stubbornness, and not going to the doctor and going to the nurse, you have to. Okay, and this is again free to you. The nurse is just a nurse, so they cannot like prescribe medicine. But if you just need some like Benadryl because your allergies are going crazy, because Arkansas weather is like infuriatingly not okay, and you just have like a cold or a headache, go to the nurse. There's also this whole thing called like getting excused from class. Sometimes I adjunct classes, and I teach American government. I'm really weird, I'm telling you. But if students' classes were not excused, then they weren't excused. And the nurse can excuse those. So if you're truly not feeling well, really for your grade's sake, you need to go have that excuse. If you're too sick, as in you're like fainting in the bathroom in the building, you give them a call and they'll come to you. But you need to know that this exists, okay? And the temptation is just to call home. But if you're anything like me, home is 6 hours away, and my mom just can't come down here to kiss my forehead and tell me that I'm sick. Like, she couldn't do it. And so you have to go to the nurse. And again, that's free to you. And they're very, very, very helpful, for real and for true. So just know that that's available to all Harding students. Okay, the Office of Student Life. This is where the deans, if you have to just make your chapel excuses and go up there, you get 10 unexcused and 5 excused a semester or whatever. Go up to Student Life and they'll help you out. Some of you, as much as I hate to say this, are going to have just a really hard time with roommate conflicts or just adjusting to Harding, and you just feel overwhelmed and you don't know what to do, and it's going to cause a lot of drama in your life. And I hate that. It's the worst. Go talk to the deans about it. The deans are actually really helpful. They're really kind, believe it or not, and they're not out to get you. They're truly wonderful people. And then the social clubs. Everything with the social club process goes through Student Life. How many of you are already in a social club? You're an upperclassman. Okay, how many of you are wanting to be in a social club? All right. So you probably like had open house last night, the night before. It's a little overwhelming, and there's just a lot that goes on there. I'm a club sponsor myself, and it's super fun. But that all goes through Student Life. So if you ever have questions about that, or you don't want to be in a social club, but you still want to get involved and do all these things, we actually have an organization fair, I believe September 15th. So you all can go and see all the organizations at Harding, or at least all those who are going to be present. And get involved, and you need to do that. Because like I said at the beginning, this isn't just about your academics. Being a Harding student is not just about your grades or that degree, it's about the experience. So Student Life really helps with that. The GAC. So the GAC's been redone, and it looks really great, and I'm gonna have to walk in there one day. But you all should too. That is a huge, you all like, it's a lot better now. I've seen at least the pictures. It's a lot better than it used to be. It actually looks really tempting for me to go in, which is saying a lot. But take advantage of that, because a gym membership is really expensive. And it also, in terms of your holistic well-being, it's good for you to be active and to get your blood flowing and to not think about school for a little bit. So go to the GAC, take advantage of the swimming pool or the racquetball courts or all the various classes that they have, or just the free weights or the gyms. Just do it and get some friends to go with you and do it. I do wake up at 5:15 in the morning and jog 2.5 miles before I come to work. So I can attest to exercise being important. Makes you feel better, it really does. I just haven't gone into the GAC because working out with people intimidates me. Truly, for real, for true. So if you're like that, you can talk to me about it. Maybe we can go together and laugh at each other. That would be funny. Or you can not do that because that might be even weirder. I think it'd be even weirder, but it's okay. But go to the GAC. The last one, and this is the most important one to me, even more important than my own program, are the professors. When I was an undergrad at the beginning of this whole chat, I told you all a little bit about me my freshman year. I truly hated it here. I'm not kidding. And I love it now, obviously. I have my 3 degrees from here and I work here. But my freshman year, I hated this place. And I'm not a crier, tears and me, we just don't typically go hand in hand. But my freshman year, I cried a lot, which was exceptionally rare for me, truly. But I cried a lot because I hated it. And had it not been for the history and political science professors, I would not be here. And I definitely would not have been baptized in that fountain right here on the other side of this wall at the end of my sophomore year. And I spent truly an average of 5 to 6 hours a week, every week in undergrad, between my professors' offices, just sitting there and having them mentor me and love me and just help me out with life, not always subject related. And I would go to their house and we would go to lunch and we would just hang out, and they became my closest friends and mentors. And last week I found out that one of my closest professors, the chair of my department, has cancer. And I rejoice for the fact that that broke my heart, because it means that there's true relationship there. And I love that man, and he's like a father to me. And he's like a father to me, one, because that's just who he is, and that is his identity, and he just wants to pour out to his students. But he's also like a father to me because I made myself available to be like a daughter to him, and I pursued that. I pursued that wisdom and that knowledge, and I pursued that relationship with my professors. And so you have to do that while you're here. Some of you are going to leave this place, and you will have never stepped into your professors' homes, and you will have never stepped foot into their office. And that makes me so sad for you, because I'm going to be quite honest. If you work here, you don't really get paid that much, which is why I also work for Unity Hospital. But you just don't. It's truly a mission field. We work here because we love you and we want a relationship with you. So if you can, and all of you should be able to, get to know your faculty, they'll help you far more academically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, intellectually, than anything else I talked about today. This was a picture when I graduated with my EDS, and my best friend graduated with her bachelor's, and they were our faculty, and we're so close to all of those people. And they truly are like family to me, and that's one of the reasons I'm still here, because I still want to be around that family to me. So with your professors, when it comes to your resources, don't be timid and don't be fearful. And if you ever have a question about any of these things, and you're like, hey, I'm not really sure where I need to go, when in doubt, just come to the Center for Student Success and ask one of us. Our job truly, and I train them and I drill it into them, your job is to be a blessing to the students. So for some of you, you're just going to get your extra credit, you're going to leave, and I hope that your time at Harding is wonderful. For those of you that heard something, you're like, you know what, I should really take advantage of that. I sincerely hope that you do. And the only other thing I have to say is that next Thursday at 4, we have another morning hack on time management. And that is another life skill we need to master. So consider coming back. Have a good day. Oh, if you are here for extra credit, come down and get one of these little certificates.
Thank you.